Hi, Tanja here and welcome to TMJ TV, a weekly video series aimed at real estate leaders that would love more time to grow their people and their business. Did you know that leaders spend up to 80% of their time navigating the people, performance and productivity issues within the business? Now this means their focus is off recruiting for results, delivering strategies for success and gaining the market share that they desire. Well, I'd love to help. Every single week I'm going to share insights and free downloadable tools to help you and your people achieve your success in the least amount of time. I hope you enjoy this next episode of TMJ TV. Sitting with me is the Director of Sales for realestate.com.au, the great Steve Carroll.
I wouldn't say great,
I think you're pretty great.
Great to be. It is great to be here today, Tanja.
Thank you so much for taking some time out of the 20th anniversary of ARIC to just have a couple of points to share around leadership and how leaders and teams, what they need to do today to be more relevant tomorrow. Now, you've been with realestate.com for how long now?
8 years.
8 years?
Yeah, so 8 years for realestate.com.au, and then prior to that, 3 years working for News Corp, looking after their real estate in Queensland.
Right, and what's the size of your team that you lead?
Today, around about 76. Okay. So I've got half a dozen sales managers, and then underneath the sales managers, a team of about 70 account managers whose job it is to obviously visit real estate agent.
What do you like about being a leader?
What do I like about being a leader? I like working with people. I like seeing people being creative and innovative, and I think one of the things that I like to try and do is give people space to think out of the square. I don't like a management style that is regimented, because I think a style of regimented management just completely dilutes innovation. It kills innovation, Tanja.
Which would go completely against your brand and all the things that you stand for.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah.
So we're having this conversation because we've partnered with CoreLogic and have recently completed an executive summary for the real estate of leadership, where we've just hacked into what is the current reality for leadership within real estate in Australia. I know you've had a chance to look at this. Before I ask your opinion on a couple of key points, what is your definition of leadership? If you were kind of to sort of say what it is or that you stand for inside of leadership. You've talked about innovation. What's your definition of leadership?
I think for me, the best leaders I've worked with, Tanja, are those that enable people to spread their wings, to flourish, to realise their full potential. So I think if you can create an environment that allows talented people to be talented, then that's good leadership. And I think the other key thing for me around leadership is really good leaders care about their people. You know, genuinely care about their people.
Well, we're here in ARIC, and it is the 20th anniversary, and already the 4 speakers have been up, and there's this whole message around being genuine and authentic and real, which develops trust and transparency. Inside of cultivating an environment where people can spread their wings and fly, what are you finding is the biggest challenge to fulfill that?
Well, I think the biggest challenge is we're all so bloody busy. And I mean, technology has made us on call 24/7. And so often I find leaders and managers, when you're having a conversation with them, they're half listening to you and they're half checking their mobile phone or being distracted by other forms of technology. So I think that strong leaders have to avoid the temptation of being distracted. And strong leaders need to, you know, like you and I now, have amazing eye contact, you know, and be there, be real, because if you're not, people know.
And the impacts are significant.
Amazing. There's nothing more insulting than having a conversation with someone when you know that you've only got 60% of their attention. Yeah,
because it makes us feel like we're not important and we're not valued, which is critical in any industry, but particularly in the real estate space, because you, as agents who are out there listing and selling, we are asking people's permission to partner the sale of their biggest asset. And your team are obviously there to provide an amazing marketing platform to get as many eyeballs on those homes as possible and increase the vendor's potential of selling in the least amount of time. So we were talking before we started shooting around examples of great leadership, and you mentioned one in the UK. Did you want to share that experience, which is relevant?
Yeah,
especially
no, I
mean,
I've been very fortunate in my many years working in media to have worked with some really good leaders, and I've worked with some poor ones as well. But I think the leader that springs to mind is a boss I had in the UK who just genuinely cared for his people. Now, he had a team of 5,000.
Wow.
Right? We're talking the chief executive. And there was a situation 10 years ago, 12 years ago in fact, when a number of us got caught up in the underground. There was a series of bombs,
right.
and your audience might remember that. I think it was 2005. And the CEO just cancelled his whole calendar. He wanted to know who was in London, and there was 19 of us, including myself. And we couldn't get out of London because the whole public transport network was closed down. He organised for 19 motorcyclists to come into London to pick us up and to take us back to our families.
Wow.
He then phoned every single one of us to make sure that we were home and that we were safe. Yeah. Now, for me, that's just amazing, strong leadership, because that was many years ago, but to this day, I will always work hard for that person, although I'm not working for him now. I did for 4 or 5 years after that incident, and I went the extra mile because he genuinely cared. And you know, I think that there's one leader in Australia who I don't know particularly well, but Brian White, who obviously from the Ray White family, strikes me as somebody who genuinely cares about his people. Yeah.
And how do you see that Brian demonstrates that?
Well, there was, funnily enough, I hear stories. So
Right.
I hear stories from principals and agents.
Okay, that work for him, sharing what he does.
Work for him, yeah. And I've heard stories about when there's natural disasters like cyclones or floods, what he does as a CEO. But there was an incident, not an incident, that's the wrong word, but there was an example that showed his genuine care of people, an interest of people. Very recently, my son Oliver was playing at a wedding, because my son plays the piano.
Okay.
And Brian White actually was in attendance at the wedding. And when I went to pick my son up, I noticed that my son, who's 17, and Brian were in this long conversation. And I said to Oliver, "Do you know who that is?" And he did. And I said, "Well, that's Brian White, probably one of the most influential real estate agents in Australasia." What was he talking about? And he said he just wanted to know how long I'd been playing piano for, Dad, what I was playing, why I chose what I played at the wedding, how did I find it, and so on and so on.
Yeah.
So here you've got a CEO of the Ray White Group at a wedding, a family wedding, who goes and talks to the pianist to find out how, whether or not he's okay, why he's playing, what he's playing, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
That for me is just something that strong leaders show, which is why I think, don't know Brian White particularly well, why I think he's a really good leader of people.
Well, building rapport is the fundamental gateway to connection, and I'm sure Oliver felt $1 million and then some, because he felt like someone genuinely took an interest in his self-expression and his artistry, and wasn't just, "Oh, that was great," asked him a whole bunch of questions.
Absolutely.
Which made him feel special. And really, one of my philosophies, Steve, which you may have heard me share before, is I really do believe that the greatest leaders treat their workforce as the life source of their business, which is what you can see in the examples that you're talking about.
In both examples.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you've had a look at some of the top insights here. If you kind of cast your eye to those points, I asked you before to choose one that you believe leaders in real estate should focus on. Tell us which one and why.
Well, I think this willingness or positivity around change is really important, because Tanja, I tell you, the world is changing at such a speed at the moment, and it's only going to get faster. Yeah. And what technology we will be carrying around with us in 3 years' time will be different to what it is today. Yeah. You only need to look at the realestate.com.au stand today, and the hologram experience that we're demonstrating, and whether or not agents in 3 or 4 years' time will have holograms of themselves to actually allow them to be in two places at one time.
Yeah, there's leverage on a whole new scale.
No, exactly. So I think that when I was reading the research, and well done for putting it together. I think that principals and agents that embrace change and are not frightened of change are going to be the ones that flourish.
Because it says here, 61% claim staying positive in changing times is a challenge. So as a leader with realestate.com.au, your business is built on innovation and being 10 steps ahead of anybody else to provide the best tools and resources. How do you keep your team positive in times of change? What do you do to inspire them to keep rising and shining and not drop the ball?
Well, I think we try and create a culture at realestate.com.au, a culture of expect change.
Right.
And if you want to work in an industry that is going to be very samey, then realestate.com.au is probably not the company for you. So I think the first thing is we try and explain to our staff that things are going to change. You've got to be agile, you've got to be flexible, you've got to be prepared to do things differently today to last month and the month before. And one of the big pieces of advice I often give to my team, and I do this myself, is talk to the younger generation. Talk to millenniums, talk to Gen Y, because seriously, they are tomorrow's real estate agent, real estate customers, and you need to understand how 17 and 18 and 19 and 20-year-olds are using technology, what their view is of buying and selling property,
and how they want to be spoken to.
Because they actually don't want to speak to people. It's all through messaging. If I want to speak to my daughter, I don't ring her. She won't answer the phone. If I send her a message through Messenger or through Facebook, you get an instant reply. So it's just figuring that out. So it's about expecting change and put yourself into a position where you can learn about what is coming through. Don't stand still.
So the message really there is change is the only constant, and if as a culture you've got that as a premise, then there should be no surprises.
Correct.
And be willing to learn and be willing to learn from those that are innovating and young and fresh and play in the playground like they want to be played with.
Exactly.
So talk their language, use the technology that they're using. And
Tanja, if I can say, surround yourself with people who are forward thinking. If you surround yourself with people who think that Facebook is just a phase, then you will start thinking that Facebook is a phase. So choose the people that you're going to coach and be coached with, because they'll keep you positive. And I'm very lucky at realestate.com.au. At the mere age of 52, I think I'm the third oldest person in the organisation. I'm surrounded by people who are in their 20s, in their 30s, and it's so refreshing spending time with those people because they are forward thinking.
Well, one thing, but before we wrap up, I just want to illustrate there, Steve, is another distinction of great leadership is never think that you've arrived. So being willing to learn. So even though you say at the mere age of 52, just tried to shave 10 years off for you, at the mere age of 52, you're not sitting here arrogant like you know it all. You're like, I walk into an environment where I'm learning from everybody. And our research really shows that leaders that do that yield the greatest results because they haven't got the answers, and you want to surround yourself with a tribe that are constantly wanting to evolve.
Absolutely.
That's great.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you for sharing some of your pearls of wisdom on leadership, and also for a wonderful brand that provides a platform for real estate professionals and then the Australian public to buy their dreams and develop wealth through real estate.
Thank you very much, Tanja.
Thanks. I hope you found that useful. If so, please like it and share it. And if you'd like access to the free downloadable tool, just click on the available link. If you also have any questions or challenges, specifically in the area of leadership or mindset, just write it in the comments below, and where possible, I'll provide solutions to your requests. Remember, let love lead, and you can turn your workforce into the life source of your business. I'll see you next week for more TMJ TV.